but yeah, I mean, that would be 90% Appetite, and then the highlights from the two Illusions, and maybe a song from Chinese, and maybe one or other. It's two. There's just not enough there.
I have your Sabbath list in my hands right here.
I don't want to know.
Don't be flashing that around. What are you kidding me? I don't want to see. It's waving it around. There's people walking behind in the glass. Funny. They could be taking photos. There's surveillance.
It's funny for me, and I have all the reverence and love in the world for the Ozzy Sabbath. When I think of Black Sabbath, I think of Ozzy. I don't think of anybody else. I think of the Ozzy era. If you say Black Sabbath to me, I'm going to immediately come to mind with Paranoid and Iron Man and Children of the Grave and Nib and IB. It's all the Ozzy stuff. But if you ask me what my two favorite Sabbath albums were, it's without question Heaven and Hell and Marlboro.
Top to bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So
I'd give you that too. I kind of agree with you.
It's kind of a weird dynamic.
Kind of agree with you there. I mean, my first Sabbath record was Heaven and Hell.
Right.
It was the first record I got. So, yeah, it's and I said this, and I'll say it 1,000 times, sacrilege. Dio was not included with Sabbath in the Hall of Fame induction.
Absolutely.
And they should absolutely, they've never gone back and fixed one that they've done since, but they should. That's the #1 thing that sticks in my craw about. They should, that is sacrilege that they didn't include Ronnie. When you look at people who have been included that have contributed far less, and Dio had 4 studio records and a live record.
But see, that brings up a bigger, even a more interesting conversation, I think, because we talk about the Hall all the time and what the snubs are and who should go in. And I don't see another way that Ronnie goes in, because I don't see Dio as a band, at least not anytime in the near future, going in. But his body of work between Dio, Sabbath, Rainbow, I mean, he deserves
should go in as an overall thing, you know.
Yeah, but how do you get Ronnie in? And I've asked that question to people that are in the room, so to speak, and like that's a really interesting one.
Isn't there a category where they do, you know, like I think Todd Rundgren was in that category.
Yeah,
Nile Rodgers.
Nile Rodgers got in, but I just don't see them looking at Ronnie James Dio that way.
Because we know they don't look at rock in that way.
I don't think they will.
I know.
But his body of work absolutely deserves him to be there. I just don't see the Dio band as a whole, as an entity.
Right. I agree, which is why Sabbath was the path. And it's impossible to make an argument against Ronnie being in with Sabbath. But the politics of the situation, and I'll leave it at that, you could figure out where I'm going, screamed otherwise. But I mean, it's ludicrous that he wasn't included. And I don't remember, what year did Sabbath go into the Hall of Fame? What year was that induction? That's probably a good 20 years ago. It was a while ago, right? 15 years ago, something like that? They went relatively early when you consider they're a metal band, and now the Hall feels about metal.
2006.
Okay, so 13 years ago. What weren't they doing the reunion in 06? They were doing the reunion with Ronnie.
That Heaven and Hell reunion, absolutely.
They went into the Hall before or after that?
It would have.
Did they go into the Hall of Fame with the original 4 guys and then go reunite with Ronnie?
They might have, because it was probably March, April that they had the Hall induction.
Wow. Because 06 is when I and Eric, we went to England, and I shot a special for the reunion of Sabbath with Dio for the 3rd time under the name Heaven and Hell.
And I believe we did that in kind of the summer, if I'm not mistaken. So this would have been just after their induction.
Wow, that's wild. Even crazier for Dio not to be included. God. All right, well, see my list tomorrow. And you'll hear my list tomorrow, I should say. And you guys, hope you get into it. And then we'll hear yours on Friday. It's going to be I'm going to go like on Friday. I want everybody to fire off their lists quickly, bang them out, because it's going to be crazy trying to get through. And if you don't get through on Friday, you can post them on social media if you'd like, but you're not going to be able to get to me live again for a little over a week, because I'm taking next week off and I have vacation time I have to use. and it's just been too busy to actually use it. So I'm actually taking time off while I'm working, doing other things, but it's all good. So I won't be back on for like, I don't know, 6 business days after Friday in terms of live. But you'll get a ton of great best of material from the archives throughout all of next week. Next week, my journeys take me to the Dominican for 80s in the Sand being presented by SiriusXM. Trying to pull it up on eBay right now. Let's see if it's closed.
The metaphorical light bulb above my head just went off. It's a Dio charity event. You're going to be bowling with Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl is a part of the Rock Hall. What better time and place to put in his head, hey, maybe you guys should retcon the Black Sabbath entry.
I think that ship has sailed, unfortunately. Right. I just searched myself on eBay to see if that auction came up because it said Bowl with Eddie Trunk, and all I'm seeing is copies of my books signed. Tricky bastards! I signed the books and then you sell them on eBay.
That's truly a sign that you've made it, though.
You're getting a big spike on that. What? Well, this one's personalized, and they're selling it. Wow. Okay. I've never searched my own name on eBay to see what the hell's being sold. Eddie Trunk, real hand-signed guitar pick guard. Okay. I don't play guitar. Eddie Trunk signed drum head. Don't play drums. That Metal Show T-shirt. Brand new, handmade, so somebody's bootlegging T-shirts. Eddie Trunk signed signature card autograph from That Metal Show. Eddie Trunk hand-signed photo. Eddie Bauer men's swim trunk shorts. Eddie and Trunk in the same thing. That came up. I was like, why is somebody's underwear here? Interesting. I've never looked at this before.
There's a
shirt.
Drum.
There's a lot of... There's a drum head. There's shirt.
By you,
That Metal Show stuff.
Frankie Benali and Jizzy Pearl.
Yeah. All right. Hope you guys make a lot of money on it. But God knows I'm not.
I can't do this.
What?
I think half
I'm
of
just
the
mentally putting a list
Sabbath
together,
list?
and it's there's not enough.
Do you have
room.
a clear-cut number one?
I do.
I got to give that some more thought. I don't.
I kind of did, and I stuck with it. But I kind of did. I usually the number one is usually my easiest one. All right, we're getting late. Let's get a
half of these are being sold by Jameson.
Yeah, right, exactly. Let's get a break in right now so we stay on schedule. Get a couple little news things that we need from Ed. You got the rundown for the week. You got the rundown for the show. We'll get your...
Possibly getting into it, has told Forbes that what changed his mind on the whole kit and caboodle was the Cure's induction earlier this year. Reznor, who actually inducted them into the hall at the ceremony, says it felt validating. I wanted to see them respected someplace I feel they deserve. It ended up being a pretty cool experience. Their set was amazing, by the way, the Cure's. And I thought, all right, it doesn't feel as bullshit as I kind of snarkily dismissed it as. I don't have any problem admitting I've changed my opinion about something. Although when it comes to Nine Inch Nails actually getting into the hall, Reznor does add that others on the ballot deserve it ahead of him. He says, I can look on the ballot this year, Todd Rundgren, Depeche Mode, Kraftwerk, and it's hard for me to make an argument why I should get in before they do.
Well, yeah, he makes a lot of sense because I am a big believer in seniority and people coming first who have been waiting the longest. We unfortunately have a lot of these artists dying. I mean, look at Thin Lizzy and T-Rex and Motorhead finally showing up on a ballot, and all of them are gone. They're deceased. It's horrible. They were snubbed and pushed back and waited so long that none of those artists are around to actually see the induction. And that just sucks. So I'm always somebody that's going to favor the seniority aspect of things, which is why I'll tell you right now, as I'm looking at my ballot, and at some point in the next month or two, I will fill the ballot out on air with you guys, as I always do. But there's going to be some really tough things that I'm not going to be able to cast a vote for because I really believe in what came earlier should go first. And I'll tell you, I mean, Nine Inch Nails, I'm amazed that they're not in already. I really am. Because what Trent did and continues to do is unbelievably influential, whether you like the band or not. So it's amazing to me they haven't gotten in sooner. But this year for me, we just talked about the Sabbath top 20. This year for me is going to be probably the hardest year in terms of voting since I've been a voter for the Hall of Fame, because there is so much sort of meat on the bone, if you will, of finally some rock acts to really pick from. And